In my own student days, I used to take lots of notes while the teacher would be speaking. My note taking story began in my primary school days when we were taught dictation. The teacher spoke, and the students were supposed to write down verbatim whatever they heard. Then the teacher would check our writing. It should be both correct in terms of content and grammar. Over time, as I progressed in the academic year, I was initiated into taking dictation. I was almost perfect at listening, understanding, thinking, and repeating what I had heard in my head so that I could finally write down the note. It was as good as a recording. I used to miss only a few part of the lecture. This note-taking skill served me in secondary school, college, and in university. By taking notes, I used to understand 80%, and the remaining 20% I would need to revise from the textbooks and discuss with the teachers. Those 20% would be that part that I did not understand, as I had mentioned to you earlier in how to listen a lecture. By taking notes during the lecture, the content became so impressed in the brain that on the day of the exam for that subject, the answer would almost naturally flow on the paper. The words, the face of the teacher, his expressions, tone were so clear in my mind. In the revision time, I would go through my own notes, and then I could link back that particular segment of the note with the respective lecture. I could even remember the type of interaction I was having with my neighbors and the teacher. Sometimes I used to recall what I was feeling. It was all possible because the words that I had written in the notes were linked to some thoughts and feelings from that class. This is how powerful notes are. Then I used to make more notes from my class notes. Sometimes I use the textbook as a reference, while other times I just use my own memory and imagination. This further helped me understand and remember what I was taught. Many of the teachers that I had in my school days and college days, as well as university days, encouraged us to write down the notes as they spoke. They used to slow down and allow us to jot down important points as they spoke. Sometimes they thought that what they just said was so important that they used to write it down on the board and tell us to write it down there on our notebooks. Those teachers talked in such a way that we could take notes. Then there were times when it was not necessary to take notes from their point of view because they were just explaining a certain point. In such parts of the lecture, they would strictly say not to write notes and just to listen to them. In that particular time, we were supposed to activate our information brain quadrant or knowledge brain quadrant or wisdom brain quadrant based on what they were speaking. Those teachers were so good that they could understand whether we were understanding or not just by looking at our faces. And I think our eyes, when the attention of the students would drop, they would again revert back to the instruction, which was to take notes as they spoke. So, this, my students, is the way we take notes in the class. However, I think that now note taking is a lost art. If you start telling students to take notes, they will say, why don't you give us the slides, or just let us take a picture of what you have written on the board. Of course, the slides and the pictures help, but they are never equivalent to your own notes, because by writing we are making strong impressions in our brain wiring. In my counseling sessions, I am so saddened whenever I meet students who have no skills in note taking. Consequently, they do not understand the lectures. Then, when they go home, they are not able to recall the explanation of the particular slides or notes given by the teacher with what was spoken in the class. Now they have to start from zero when they study at home, because whatever they had listened to in the classroom, it was not registered in their mind. Still, in those counseling sessions, why I identify the lack of skill in note taking, I am able to prescribe them strategy to develop a skill by themselves of masterful note taking. The students know that they are weak and they need to improve. However, most of them do not know the exact cause of that weakness, and in this way are unknown about the strategies for improvement. If a student is weak in note taking, then he will usually have a poor vocabulary, and he will not have a strong comprehension capacity. Consequently, he will not be able to think logically and express his own reasonings and emotions. All this will create a situation whereby he will not be able to write in the exams even if he knew the answer. So I suggest the students to really improve on their note taking during the class itself. However, for that to occur, they need to practice on their own. I was very lucky that my teachers taught me dictation when I was in primary school, but unfortunately, most students today have not been that lucky. So I teach them from the dictation. I check what they have written in front of them. Nobody had done that for them, that is, giving them on the spot feedback of their writings. Then I move to the next level, whereby I give a small talk, and they are supposed to write down whatever words they are able to catch as I speak. I check what they have written and ask them to explain by linking the various words that they have jotted down into a near replica of what I had just spoken. Once these basic skills of note taking are taught, the students is elated, a seed is planted. Then it's up to them to improve and expand on that skill. I suggest them to use YouTube videos and take the dictation themselves. Some students I advise to use artificial intelligence to check their own papers and writing. The reason being is they are too old to ask the teachers to check their grammar. But the truth is the truth, and they do not know where to put a full stop or a comma. They do not know when to change a paragraph. Many don't even know the tense of verbs, or why or which preposition to use. All this wouldn't have happened if somebody at one point in their lives had helped them in the note taking process. Nobody did, and that is very sad. But the game is not over. If you are reading this book, then you can follow my instructions, and you will become a professional note taker like me. In my business of consulting and counseling and training, it's a very important and powerful skill. I have to listen to so many people, and they expect answers from me. If I don't note them down, whatever they say, then I'll forget. By noting down, I not only remember, but I'm able to analyze what they spoke and put it in context. In my life, every sitting with a client and groups of students is an exam. So make sure that you take the notes when you are in the class. In terms of classwork, there's not much to be done from your part because it's mostly the role of the teacher. All I have to say is try to participate and do not hide in the back or make excuses. The classwork will help you make a strong impression of whatever the teacher is trying to teach in your brain. That will remember, make your recall of that lesson vivid and long lasting.